Hi, I'm Rama and welcome to my art space. It's a really stormy weather today, but it's a really nice time to practice drawing. So drawing is a basic skill in art, and many people would like to try it out but are afraid to do so because they think they don't have the skill. Well, I have some good news for you. Anyone can draw. So I hope you would learn with me as I show you some of the basic fundamentals of drawing, and I invite you to get your own pen and paper so you can draw with me. There's really a lot of things or objects that you can practice here around the house. We'd only choose a really simple object, and that's this tumbler. As you can see, it's straight and it doesn't have much details. The pencil that I'm using right now is just a simple Mongol pencil. It doesn't have to be much complicated or too fancy. Just going to be a beginner's drawing. Okay, so what I do first, I first draw out its basic shape. So draw here. I try to make measurements. Oh, by the way, you can also use a ruler. This is just a draft outline, and I would not apply too much pressure on the pencil. So I make a round circle here. And also the bottom of the tumbler, it's a bit of a circle. I also have to make it like a circular shape. Okay, so I think the cylinder's okay. So let's not forget this line here, which is the lid. So since it's also not a straight line, we have to join this part, shape line. Now, don't be scared if you're not doing it perfectly, because I would tell you there's nothing really perfect in this world. So, okay, I think we're having the right outline, and I can now erase the lines that I don't need. So after we get the outline of the subject, that's when we can add some depth. That's where you attempt to put some dimension in your drawing. So the first tip when making some depth is to look for the light source of the object. So when I say the light source, that is where the light is falling on the object. When you find the light source, look also where the shadow falls. Usually the shadow falls on the opposite side on where the light source falls. So in this case, I will first try to catch the shadow. When you make shadows, of course you have to use a darker shade. The shadow will also depend on the shape of the object that you're copying. Let's darken this one. This is where you can apply pressure. Let's also follow this one. It's also a shadow here. Let's also darken this a little bit. And there's also another outline we need to put here. I forgot. I'm sorry. You know, when you begin to draw, you will find other details that you don't see at first sight. Make it a little darker in this part so that you would see the outline of the tumbler. This is sort of like a shadow of the tumbler. It would be good to start first on the darkest shade when you make the drawing. So in this one, in the dark part of the lid of the tumbler, or it will also darken this one because this is one of the darkest spots or the darkest areas in this tumbler. I'm adding some pressure in this because I need to darken this. Then we need to add some dark here also. And also I forgot to put the sign on top, so we'll add it on the top of the tumbler. We'll add a little circle here. You know, when you try to copy your objects, try to also measure out the perspective of the object, or how the object is in a way that it's angled to your viewpoint. So another circle on top. If you would notice, what do I call this? The oblong. Yeah, they're elongated. You know, they're not lying flat. They're... Sige na nga, magtatagalog na ako. Kumbaga parang hindi pantay-pantay yung mga bilog nila. Kaya may yung bilog dito, nakadikit dun sa malayo. Kasi kumbaga, pinalalaki natin yung part dito. Kasi ito yung malapit sa atin. Itong part na ito. Yan. Kailangan makuha mo yung tamang perspektibo doon sa subject na ginagawa mo. Perspective is also one of the things you should consider when making a drawing. I also added some depth into these circles by making this part dark. Don't ever expect your work to be perfect, and that's okay. I always say this kasi sometimes we can be harsh on ourselves. I myself, I admit, is quite harsh to myself because parang I want everything to be good. I want everything to be perfect, but that's not always the case. So, yung mga bilog-bilog, alam kong ano yan eh, medyo nakakatakot gawin. Pero don't worry if you don't want to capture yung ano naman, yung details naman, okay lang din. So, we'll add yung mga parang circle. Actually, hindi ko na rin ginagawang perfect itong circles kasi aabutin tayo ng 20 hours. Okay, so, parang nilagyan ko na rin siya ng konting texture. Okay, there are some parts here na dark. There are some parts here na light, diba? So, what we do is just shade a bit dun sa parts na hindi natatamaan masyado ng light. Just not touch the parts that where the light is falling. We'll make this dark. And then add a little shadow here. This one a little darker. Kailangan natin i-boost. Tapos, and then we make it a bit, you know, or shading lighter here. Kumbaga parang your eye will just catch on what you see. So, medyo kakapalan din natin yung outline here. Then we make a little bit of outline here para maging fun. Oh, okay. Yan, okay. That's just the lid. So, medyo igagayahin lang natin dito yung dito sa baba. Medyo parang ipapattern natin kung where the light falls. We add lesser depth here. And then, after this, that's when we move towards the lighter shade. So, how are you drawing? I hope you're all doing well. And then, ayan. So, we have made this dark. And then, make this a little bit dark. So, ayan. Medyo we follow this a bit. Just make this part a little dark. So, it's okay to draw and redraw and add some layers to your drawing para kumbaga you're adding depth into it. Like this one, we need to add a little more depth, and adding a little more pressure, making it darker. Okay, and then it's time to make the outline a little bit, you know. Ayan, o diba? Yan, may depth na siya. Medyo lagyan natin ng unting ano pa, oh, lumamig yung kape ko. Oh. Okay. So, there you have it. Your tumbler. My tumbler. And, yeah, that's a simple point we can start. Okay, by the way, we can also add some little shadow here, no? We won't put much details on it. Those are just the basic fundamentals when you draw. First, you make the outline, and then you take note where the light and shadow falls when you make depth. And then after that, train your eyes to catching details into your subject. Even though these steps are really simple, actually, it's up to you to practice, to train your eyes, even to train your hands to draw and put into canvas or into paper what you see. So I hope right after this session, you can draw for yourselves. You can make, you can practice for yourselves. And it really takes so much dedication and also that passion to put that into practice. So thank you very much for joining me. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up button, and for those who are here in my channel for the first time, please subscribe and click the bell notification for you to be notified of future videos. I also invite you to leave a comment in the comment section and let me know how you fared, and also if you have made drawings with me, I really invite you to share your drawings. I would like to see your works. So thank you very much again for joining me. Again, I'm Rama, and it's really been a pleasure to help you in this. So I hope to see you again in my next art space. Bye! And also add... This is so hard. The bottom side of the object. This, so use mo po. Kita, charot. Bira naman, no?